Mark, your property sommelier, talking to you today, and isn't it a scorcher? It's going to be so hot today. It's going to be absolutely incredible. So what are we doing as far as today is concerned? I hope you had a fantastic weekend. Well, what we're doing is kicking off straight away with the message of the week, if you like, and that is basically, as investors, you want to know how to thrive and the importance of thriving in a dynamic business environment. Now then, as far as a lot of our investors are concerned, it's not a scenario of you necessarily knowing everything about business and what's going on in it. It's a lot more about having the people that you appoint, you decide to work with, you're talking to, that have got their ear to the ground and they are watching what's going on, and they have got that knowledge of what is insanely thriving and dynamic business environment of property. And so that's where we're at with property in this day and age. It's incredibly sophisticated, incredibly technical as far as everything's concerned. And so being aware of what's going on and being aware that the people that you're working with and connecting with completely hooked up on the constantly changing landscape and business environment that is constantly evolving as far as property is concerned, the market trends, the technology, the consumer preferences, and all the shifts that are going on as far as that is concerned. Adapting to these changes is going to be absolutely key to your success, or as I mentioned, working with people who are absolutely tuned into these situations, developments, trends, changes, etc., and all that kind of stuff. You being investors, you need to make sure that you're working with the best people all round as far as what you're looking for, and as far as how that's going to work, as far as the technicalities of this industry are concerned. So, embracing innovation, technology drives much of the change in the property industry. A lot of the time, there's so much going on as far as what's available, where it's come in the last 25 years, and how it's developing. We've basically come from almost pedaling a car, if you like, to having a vehicle with an engine, then it's got gears, then it's got automatic gears, and now we're almost there with the whole car that's driving itself, almost but not quite, as far as the technology, AI is concerned, and what we can do with it and what it can do for us in so many parts of property and the way it's going. We're getting so close to technology having conversations for us. I'm not sure how that's going to go. Personally, I think that there's always going to be an edge. The wonderful thing about AI is we're finding loads and loads of areas where it's still going to need my or your definitive involvement in that for you. And I think that's brilliant. We can get it to do a lot of the legwork, but it still needs your little bit of input as far as that's concerned. How many people have read newspaper or online articles that is just on and on about a load of bump and stuff, and you realize, hold on a minute, this wasn't written by a person, this is just lots of fill and a lot of information that I don't really need. And you quickly stop using those, you quickly recognize them, and you say, I'm not doing this anymore, I'm not going to read those. Those are the articles I'm not reading. So, as far as the technology is concerned, it is absolutely blowing our mind, but there are still lots and lots of things that human beings need to do, and they're not going to be replaced very quickly, as far as some of the integral things that are involved in your interaction. So we're looking at it to improve efficiency all the time. From our point of view, it's all about improving what we can bring to the table, whether you're getting rid of a property and coming to talk to us about it, or whether you're looking for those investments that we provide people with, which are going to serve them and their families for years to come. So agility and flexibility is a massive part of the business situation and the property situation. Being able to see what's going on in the marketplace, being able to react to it, and being able to constantly refine. As I mentioned, that's not necessarily something that you need to have an absolute in-depth knowledge of, but it is if you're going to do it yourself. However, so many of the people that I know that we work with, they're not spending all that time and effort getting educated to the finest degree. They're not spending a couple of weekends a month and hours searching, trying to make friends with agents and all the rest of it. They just come to somebody like us to do it for them. And what they need is a rough knowledge of it, but they expect us to have a much finer knowledge of it and understand the flexibility that's required in the marketplace, the agility to make the most of it and what's going on. In the last couple of years, flipping, for instance, has been in so many different places, even in the last year to 18 months. One minute you can do it, the next minute it's not so good, the next minute it's possible again. So lots and lots of scenarios that lead us on to other scenarios. For instance, will we buy this flip and do it up and flip it, or we have to get scenarios where we have partnerships with the vendors to literally have an agreement where we fix their property up, we sell it for a better price, and we all share the spoils. So there's all that going on at any one time, and we need to be aware of what can work best for the moment, anticipating the change and preparing to act swiftly as far as that is concerned. So another thing that is absolutely vital to, well, for instance, to my life, certainly it is vital to business, and I'm sure people have it as a way of living their lives anyways, and that is continuous learning. You have to be completely comfortable with the fact that everything is changing. Now, one of the things I remember when I first started in business in 1990, I always remember it, we had this beautiful sandwich shop that was selling baked potatoes and sandwich, and we had all these fillings and everything. And I do remember thinking at the time, oh my goodness, we've got to change the menu up sometimes. And that was quite a big complication, we felt. We've got to rewrite it, we've got to think up different recipes, and we have to have specials. Sometimes they don't like them, don't want them, all the rest of it. I thought that was quite complicated at the time. And one of the things I must admit, the change that has taken place since then, in myself, we're talking 35 years nearly, but the fact is, as human beings, we don't really like change. One of the things I'm very happy with, because it's a natural thing more than necessarily something I think you can train yourself to do, but expecting change and everything to be completely on its head almost every day is exactly the way I feel comfortable with. I'm very comfortable with the fact that everything's changing all the time and nothing stays the same. It's a constant development is the way I see it. Everything is constantly developing. And so this is what you have to be aware of and understand that is going on in the marketplace. It's part of business, it's certainly part of the property business these days. You need to be working with people that you have a confidence with, that they are aware of that, they're comfortable with it, and they're very much keeping up with it. Rather than not really being involved. We don't get involved in that round here, we never look at that, we don't have this technology, we're just an old firm and we do it like this, or no. You want to know somebody that is switched on, getting on with things, they have a genuine knowledge of what's happening, keeping up on what's going on in the marketplace, and they're there and have that information ready for the decisions that are going to make your investments work and serve your family, your requirements for years to come, decades to come. So flexibility is massive, constant development of learning. Like I said, as far as the people you're working with, you want to make sure that they're that kind of person. They have to have some dynamism with them. Networking and building relationships. This is always very important. It's important that whether it's yourself or the people you're working with are out there in the marketplace, meeting the right people or in the right places to be connected and have their ear to the ground as far as what's going on. I've made no secret of the fact, and I often mention the fact that I use Premier Properties event in Mayfair and Baker Street, Portland Place I think it is, just near Regent Street, a couple of really fantastic meetings that happen in London property that have got some people there, Ranjan and Andrew, Cam Davidi and his son, whole family, very up on what's going on, always got a message of development. I'll let you into secret. That message is always how you can best do what we're doing with the prevailing market trends at that time, which is fantastic. There is always an answer. It doesn't matter what happens. They have something else or a twist or there's an angle, and they're very good at keeping us completely aware of things like that, taking in information that we're bringing to the table as well, and it's a good way of keeping up. That's open to you as well. You can step into those meetings anytime you like to observe what's going on and see what an absolutely incredibly dynamic situation the world of property investment is. So as far as your networking is concerned, we've got a lot of people who are investing, they've been involved, they've got a couple of deals, they have many deals, they might have decades worth. You might be sitting there thinking, I don't have that, but I would like to get involved. How on earth do I come along and talk to anybody? Well, I'll tell you what will help your success as far as those conversations are concerned, and that is be somebody who looks like they're going to do something and be serious. Be careful how you're taken on by people, as far as, are you a serious person that they want to spend their time with for a few minutes talking to, or not? If you look like a tire kicker and you act like a tire kicker, people will think you're just a tire kicker. So be serious. One of the things that kind of shows that up, I very much take notes. I write people's names down, their numbers, I text them, my information, and I always have a reason. We've had a conversation, there's a reason why I'm going to be communicating with that person. There's something we've agreed. They're thinking about this project, they're thinking about that, they're interested in doing this. I always respond the next day. And I always put messages out and say, hi, we were talking about this last night, it was great to speak to you, what do you think about this, or would you like that link? I still would say that so many people never even respond, never even remark, never even a comment, nothing. That is one of the worst things you can possibly do, because guess what? We remember that. And so the next time we bump in, when you come bouncing over and say, hey, how are you doing? We know. I will say, hey, how are you doing? But guess what? I'm not turning around and saying, in my mind, I'm thinking, remember, you're the person that I was discussing this with, and I got nothing. You didn't carry on the conversation. You weren't. So if you want to get on in this business, and especially if you've got, you don't have a lot of involved in it at the moment, if you want to move forward, the one single thing I can tell you that will get you a long way is be serious. And as I'm always saying, be reliable, be something that people can rely on as far as the conversation is concerned, no matter how small that is. So as far as investment is concerned and being an investor, as far as that's concerned, many of you are already aware of these things. I'm totally aware that I'm, if you like, talking to the converted, there's no question about that. However, it's always good to hear. We always like to let people know, make sure they're aware these are our thoughts and this is how we do business regarding commitment and sustainability and how our ethics work. This is the kind of way we do business and what we do with our day and what we spend our days doing. So the sustainability of what we can do and how we do it, how we ethically do our thing. We're always viewing properties, we're always talking to people who have not found the best solution for them elsewhere. One thing that I would say, we've got one tomorrow morning I'm going to see. Many people that are going to see people who had solutions but they fell through, or it didn't work with agents and they're still left with a property that they need to find a solution for. It's almost like, what do they call it, the show and switch or something like that. I'm not quite sure the term for it, but basically they'll get a property price, they'll take it down the line, then all of a sudden that person will change the rules, that buying entity, almost at the end, close to where they're going to close. That is not really a very nice thing to do. I don't think it's very I don't ethically think it's very good, unless there's something big that comes to the table, unless when the offer was put in it's pending those tests, the other tests, that's fair enough, that is, as long as that's clearly explained. But basically we're always trying to work ethically and be civilized, whether you're an investor that we're working with or whether you're a vendor of a property that you're investing with. We want you to tell other people about your experience with us. So the commitment to that and the value that we hold our vendors and investors with, is very important to us. So we know that people appreciate that, and that's very important to us. Those are the kind of people that we naturally like to connect with and who we're interested in working with. Sustainable situations, enhancing the reputation and ensuring long-term success for our investors, for our vendors, whatever their situation may be, and obviously ourselves and our own business. So we are working in a very dynamic environment. We live in insanely complicated times. We really do. The world is a crazy place. I don't know if it's crazier than it was 40 years ago. It's just that we know so much more about it now, don't we? So yes, we embrace the technology, staying agile, flexible as far as what's going on. We do look to be working with strong people, ethical people, good people, working with networks like that and committing to these practices that are in our DNA, so to speak. So on that note, we would like to wish you the best day. Do be careful with the heat. It is going to be a scorcher. And if anybody has any questions on anything that I've been speaking about, or they would like to know anything about more about what we've talked about, whether you've got a property or you're thinking of investing, then by all means, please communicate and we can talk some more. I would look forward to meeting. Bye for now. Thank you.